Hello, hi, my name is Samuel Lee Zerzer for the SE channel. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe and share as much as you can. Again, you won't hear this from the misinformation media. All they talk about is death and how many people got infected. But what I'm telling you is take your vitamin C, vitamin D, and your zinc tablets. This is what I do. Okay, this is what I do every morning, in the afternoon twice, just to boost my immune system. So check it up, see what you want to do. But that's what I do. Okay. And also inside, most of the time I wear a mask, just for now. By the way, after 2-3 months you would think that the virus will just go away. Normally goes away after 2-3 months of people being quarantined, but who knows. Just be careful out there. Now, this is one of the greatest clips of the year because she's really good, this Kayleigh. In the press briefing, sometimes you guys have to watch this. I go there once in a while to see some of the clips. It's fun. This is what I used to do. I don't know why YouTube doesn't like when I when I put some of these press briefing, but this was a good one. I couldn't pass by this one where she says it's time for the New York Times and the Washington Post to get back their Pulitzers concerning the questions that we're asking. Well, if you saw yesterday's news, I just watched a little bit. Even I was at a friend's house who was watching CNBC, and I was telling him, "What are you watching?" And they were talking about the vice president and the president that were briefed concerning that the Russians paid these Talibans in Afghanistan. If you guys know where Afghanistan is, some of you lefties don't even know who Abraham Lincoln is. I got to explain. And there was a bounty, for to kill some of the guys in the army up there in Afghanistan, which is totally not true. The press briefing yesterday said they denied it. So she goes out to say, well, it was the New York Times who reported it, and probably the Washington Post, but I know the New York Times reported it, and it's time to give back their Pulitzers. You guys just have to listen to this. She's a genius. And then she goes on to say about they misrepresented was it Paul Manafort, and anyway, there was a lot of misinformation at that time with the Russian gate, and she literally says to the reporter, give back the Pulitzers that you guys took at that time of the Russian gate or the Russian hoax. With unbelievable, the Steele dossier, which was a whole completely fake. I just can't wait to see all these people, who are going to be testifying soon. That we're waiting for this Durham report and so on. Let's hope. But she's a genius. I love this. Now let's listen to what she has to say.
And how does he know, if he hasn't been briefed, how is he certain that Russia didn't put out these bounties?
The president is briefed on verified intelligence, and again, I would just point you back to the absolutely irresponsible decision of the New York Times to falsely report that he was briefed on something that he in fact was not briefed on. And I really think that it's time for the New York Times to step back and ask themselves why they've been wrong so often. The New York Times falsely claimed Paul Manafort asked for polling data to be passed along to Oleg Deripaska before having to issue a correction. In June of 2017, the New York Times falsely wrote all 17 intel agencies had agreed on Russian interference before having to issue a correction that it was only 4 agencies. In 2017, February of that year, New York Times published a story claiming Trump campaign aides had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence, which even James Comey has said was almost entirely wrong. New York Times published a column in March of 2019 by a former Times executive editor that asserted the Trump campaign in Russia had an overarching deal that the quid of help in the campaign against Hillary for the quo of a new pro-Russian foreign policy. That's what we call the Russia hoax, which was investigated for 3 years with taxpayer dollars before ultimately getting an exoneration in the Mueller report. It is inexcusable, the failed Russia reporting of the New York Times, and I think it's time that the New York Times and also the Washington Post hand back their Pulitzers. Russia reporting of the New York Times, and I think it's time that the New York Times and also the Washington Post hand back their Pulitzers. For 3 years with taxpayer dollars before ultimately getting an exoneration in the Mueller report. It is inexcusable, the failed Russia reporting of the New York Times, and I think it's time that the New York Times and also the Washington Post hand back their Pulitzers.
Not only she's beautiful to watch, honestly, but she's smart and intelligent. I mean, really, she's smart and intelligent. She knows how to give back. She knows the answers, which is excellent. I find her, I think so far she's the best when it comes to the briefing.
Condemned white power.
Bob White House. Anyways, another whack job. Here it is. The Pulitzer Prize. Just go to the Pulitzer Prizes. If you people, especially the left, the Democratic Party, or you're a lefty or a Marxist, and all you do is watch CNN and CNBC, maybe you should just go to 2018 Pulitzer Prize and get a little history where they actually won a Pulitzer Prize, the staff of the New York Times and the Washington Post. That's what she's referring. For deeply sourced, relentlessly reported coverage of the public interest of the dramatically further nation's understanding of the Russian interference of 2016 presidential election, which was, if you look at the Mueller report, it was all a lie. The Steele dossier was a lie. I knew that. I should have won a Pulitzer Prize. We were a lot of us conservatives were talking about that. That it was all a lie, and the Steele dossier was completely made up, and so on, and its connection to the Trump campaign and president-elect transition team and eventual administration. So they want, look at this finalist, I don't know, Amy Julia and whatever. It doesn't really matter. International. Let me see, international reporting. Routers, okay. Investigative reporting. Let me see this stuff. The Washington Post. You got to be kidding. For randomly reporting that it changed course of the Senate race in Alabama by revealing candidates' alleged past sexual harassment of teenage girls and subsequent. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Breaking news. Which breaking news is this? Okay. Okay. Anyways, just go to the Pulitzer Prize and you'll see it. Again, my name is Samuel Zerza for the SE channel. Maybe I should shave before I do. It's just early in the morning. I mean, there's just so much to talk about. I just don't want to see too much of the news. I mean, that's all you're seeing is monuments being broken and all these crazy people out there, are these anarchists, Antifa, and some BLMs out there just destroying property. This reminds me of the 1930 with the fascists. You know, they just want take their property. That's what it is, to go on steal and break property, erase history. You just don't do that. That's how we learn, but they don't care. That's the Marxist, Leninist type thinking. So if you are a middle or independent or middle left, just come over on our side, man. I mean, just America won't last this long if the Democratic Party, which is taken over by the extreme left right now, and who's doing all the violence right now? I don't see any, mega hats going out there breaking, looting, hitting and, defunding cops, especially all you suburban women, talk about Trump. And I mean, I know my girlfriend, she talks about, oh my God, I'm scared to go out there, like suburban white women out there, think who you're voting for, because if that's true, if you guys want to vote Democrats, good luck walking down the streets. You may not even walk down the streets. I'm not here to scare you guys. This is scary times right now. You need law and order at least. The question is not to defund the police. Just reform the police. That's all. Just reform the police. Defund the police reminds me of, like I remember in Nazi Germany, this guy Goring, when he took over, I think it was Hitler who give this guy glory. I forgot his title. He was like second in command in Nazi Germany. The first thing he did was defund the police. That's it. The first thing, defund the police. And then he put all these brown shirts, 10,000 brown shirts. So let's learn from history, okay? And I feel like the Democratic Party is purging their own history, taking out some of these monuments, these Confederate monuments. I mean, why Lincoln? I mean, he was the good guy. Anyways, God bless, take care, and please share. Sorry, next time I'll shave, all right? I'll shave next time.